ผ่านนะฮะเราก็เอาความคิดจากฐานรากเนี่ยขึ้นไปสู่ระดับสูงพรรคเนี่ยก็จะมีระบบเดียวกันนะฮะเขาจะทำแบบนี้ก็ได้เขาจะทำยังไงก็ได้แบบเขานะฮะในภูมิภาคเนี่ยก็อาจจะสูงขึ้นมาหน่อยนะฮะเป็นเซอร์เคิลเนี่ยเป็นที่ราบสูงนะอาจจะเรียกว่าซึ่งมีประมาณ16 เมืองทุกระดับเนี่ยก็จะมีพรรคการเมืองขึ้นมาทุกๆระยะเลยนะฮะทุกคนนะครับเพราะฉะนั้นขอพูดเกี่ยวกับเรื่องการเงินหน่อยนะฮะแน่นอนที่สุดนะฮะทุกพรรคเนี่ยมันจะเป็นในเยอรมนีเนี่ยสิ่งที่สำคัญที่สุดของการจัดหาการเงินของพรรคเนี่ยก็คือว่าต้องโปร่งใสนะฮะคือใครเอาเงินเข้ามาเนี่ยนะฮะไม่ว่าจะผ่านทาง
dark channels
ช่องมืดช่องสว่างอะไรเนี่ยมันจะต้องอยู่บนโต๊ะนะฮะแล้วก็สามารถที่จะรับรู้กันได้โดยทุกคนแล้วก็ทุกงบดุลของพรรคเนี่ยต้องเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยนะถ้าใครได้เงินมาเข้ามานะฮะอาจจะสงสัยกันขึ้นมาว่าใครเป็นใครการจัดหาการเงินเนี่ยนะฮะก็มีหลายเส้นทาง
First of all, it's of course membership fees.
และอื่นเลยคือมีค่าสมาชิกของพรรคการเมืองซึ่งสมาชิกทุกคนจะต้องชำระ
Usually it's a little bit depending on
โดยปกติแล้วเนี่ยอัตราค่าสมาชิกนั้นขึ้นอยู่กับรายได้ถ้าท่านมีรายได้มากขึ้นท่านก็ต้องเสียค่าสมาชิกสูงขึ้น
Everybody has
แต่ทุกคนนั้นมีหน้าที่ต้องชำระค่าธรรมเนียมประการที่2ที่มาที่2ก็คือว่าการบริจาคจากภาคเอกชนและสุดท้ายก็คือการบริจาคหรือว่าเงินสนับสนุนอุดหนุนจากรัฐเงินอุดหนุนจากรัฐนั้นเดี๋ยวผมขอให้รายละเอียดเพิ่มเติมในภายหลังนั้นค่าธรรมเนียมขึ้นอยู่กับรายได้การบริจาคจากภาคเอกชนนั้นใครจะบริจาคให้พรรคการเมืองก็ได้จะเป็นองค์กรเอกชนจะเป็นบริษัท
Public financing.
The legal basis of party financing
are set out in Article 1 of our Constitution law, Law on Political Parties, which is very straightforward. The amount of public funding the parties receive is determined by the extent to which they are established within the society.
ขึ้นอยู่กับความแพร่หลายหรือค่านิยมของพรรคนั้นในสังคม
And this is measured by the party's performance in recent elections and by the level of contribution they receive from natural persons. In some cases, the state funding amounts to more than 1/3, i.e. the major share of the party's income.
สูงมากๆและอาจเป็นสัดส่วนที่สูงมากในรายได้ทั้งหมดของพรรคการเมืองนั้นขอเน้นย้ำวิธีการบริหารจัดการคือพรรคการเมืองนั้นมีสิทธิ์ที่จะได้รับเงินในจำนวนที่ระบุไว้ชัดเจน
for each valid vote received in the state election.
85 ยูโรต่อเสียงต่อ1คะแนนเสียงที่ได้รับจากการเลือกตั้งเป็นเงินจำนวน 0.85 ยูโรต่อเสียงในขณะที่มีวงเงินขั้นสูงสุดนั้นเช่นถ้าเกินได้รับคะแนนเสียงเกิน4 ล้านเสียงแล้วเนี่ยอัตราก็จะลดลงเหลือ 0.7 ต่อ1คะแนนเสียงในสำหรับคะแนนเสียงที่ได้เกิน4 ล้านเสียงนั้นก็จะได้รับเสียงละ 0.7 ยูโร
for every euro donated or contributed by person per year.
แล้วก็มีอัตราเพิ่มเติมอีก 0.38
up to a maximum of 3,300 euro per person per year. The level of state funding given to each political party may not exceed the total revenue raised by the party from other sources. There is a so-called relative limit, we call that like this. And moreover, the total amount of public funding for the political parties has been capped at 133 million per year. This is the so-called absolute limit. And the parties have to live with it. Whether they like it or not, everybody is always trying to lift up this limit. Of course, this is understandable, but as a matter of fact, it's not really easy to lift it up because you have to get a majority of the parliament behind, and that's not a very popular thing to get more money for parties. So everybody is trying to hide himself behind the others in order not to be the one who was making it possible that this limit is lifted up. But from time to time we do lift it up because of very simple inflation and so on and so forth, so we need to lift it up. Compared with the situation some years ago, large donations from companies are no longer a significant source of party funding. The party's current income structure mainly consists of public funding, contributions from members of parliament and municipal office holders, memberships, subscriptions, and donations from party individuals. I just let you know, we as a member of the parliament, we have to donate to the party as well. Which is normal because we receive due to the fact that we are a member of the parliament a certain amount of money and everybody has to donate to the party. Well, I think the system is quite okay because we have, first of all, again, just to sum it up, we have the membership fees, we have the public funding, and also we have donations from all kinds of parties, but everything, and that let me highlight again, because that's for me the most important thing, has to be very transparent. It cannot be the case that underneath, under the table, there's some money flowing in, and you don't know who is the person who did it and who wants it to be. Because we don't want to have anyone having influence on our parties via money. I don't think it's correct, and we are very much concerned about this, and that's the reason whenever there is anything not really clear and transparent, that's quite a big scandal. We have few people of the press in here, German press, as far as party financing is concerned, is really, really robust, I would say, and goes ahead and controls us very strictly and straightforward, which I think it's okay. I like it because I don't want to have the situation that somebody who has a lot of money has a too great an influence in the party. This should not be the case. I think that's it as far as Germany is concerned. I'm very happy to be with you, and of course I'm willing to answer any questions you may have. Could be also political ones if you want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Fuchs from Germany. I would like to pass on to Kun Sirot to be the one moderating the session to direct the questions. ขอบคุณครับคุณจตุรน
Conrad Adenauer Foundation and also guests and participants here and also in those who listen from internet and public radio. So I would like to start this session in Thai and I would like to invite Professor Michael Fuchs on this panel and also theขอเชิญท่านผู้แทนจากกกต.ทั้งสองท่านด้วยนะครับ
I would like to call upon the members of the election committee, Kun Onchuda and Kun Sarata. Well, we have only about 45 minutes. We will adjust it a bit. It will be question and answer. Representatives from political party, whichever party is it. Now that you have listened to the point of Dr. Michael Fuchs, you can ask Dr. Michael Fuchs or else the representatives of the election commission from the department that is very significant with regard to political financing.
Schedule pretty short. We have to finish the panel within noon, 12:15. So I would like to start this panel by invite all of you to answer whatever you would like to bring to this panel ขอเชิญได้เลยครับขอโทษทีครับYou switch to number 1. Can that be?
Sorry, I haven't got anything here. Hi, the other one.
So for the international participant, you switch to channel 1 นะครับสำหรับคนไทยเปิดไปที่ช่อง2นะครับจะได้ยินภาษาไทยนะครับภาษาไทยอาจจะมีการขุกขักเรื่องเครื่องมือเล็กน้อยนะครับแต่เดี๋ยวก็คงแก้ไขได้นะครับ
There might be some technical difficulties, but we are trying to solve this problem pretty soon. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you.
รู้สึกจะใช้ได้แล้วครับใช้ได้แล้วครับ
My question is.
Microphone.
Sorry, can you speak into the microphone?
I have no microphone. We can't translate.
I need you to speak into the microphone. My name is General Kitisak Ratapasut, Chairman of Serenium Liberal Party. I have several questions, and I think many people share the same question. I will act as your representatives. My first question is, you have mentioned that there are 3 sources of income for parties. First of all, from membership subscription fee. Secondly, from private funding. And thirdly, from public funding. I would like to ask whether what is your criteria for calculating subscription? Do you take into consideration their income, GDP, their financial standing? And do you have many different types of membership, such as a permanent membership, or temporary membership, or monthly membership? And my second question is, the private sector, I couldn't remember. You mentioned that the private sector may be able to donate funds to political parties. Now, can you restate the limit of the donations, and that they have to be transparent? And also, can you please lay out for us what the GDP of your country is, and I agree with this because taxpayers pay for this. But however, we want to know the clear rules for calculating popularity and the
คิดว่า
But this is really depending on votes. As I said, 0.85 euro cents per capita per person is donated to the party or is given to the party out of public funding. Public funding is nothing else but taxes. So we're talking about taxpayers' money, and that's one of the reasons it's not very popular to give too much money to the parties, and that's always a little bit of fight. The parties want to have more money, but you have to get it out of taxpayers. And since you have to get it out of taxpayers, you have to discuss this openly. Again, my word of transparency should be in all your heads. You have to discuss it openly in the parliament, and there is a voting on increasing this amount of money. And as I said, the criteria, the most important criteria is just inflation, and nothing else. Of course, the parties always try to get more money, but this is not popular at all, as you can imagine. And for that reason, a party who makes an apply to the parliament in order to increase this amount of money is not in favor of the voters. So everybody is very reluctant to make it, and everybody is trying to make, well, first, most of the parties clear that they all want to have the same in order not that one is punished. You understand my point? The German GDP has nothing to do with this criteria. The GDP of Germany is at the moment 2,460 billions. And that's last year's GDP. It's increasing again this year, but it has nothing to do with the criteria of parties. The only criteria which is relevant is inflation, and the inflation is the most important case, because that's what the money's that's what the parties have a problem with. You asked me about the three sources. As I said, there's membership fee, and membership fee is really dependent on your income. Very simple. You judge yourself into a group, and there's certain levels of income, and of course this is not controlled. Nobody's coming home and say, "Come on, can I get your tax announcement," or so on and so forth. You judge. I am in group so X, Y, Z, and then that's it. The other criteria I just explained already, I think it's clear. There's no limit as far as donation to a party is concerned. You can donate whatever you want, but the only thing is only a certain amount is tax deductible. The amount which is tax deductible is, if I'm right, if I'm not mistaken, my colleagues, do you know it? I think it's 10,000 euro, which is tax deductible. Everything exceeding 10,000 euro, you cannot deduct it from taxes. So that's one of the criteria. Then you asked me how many MPs we have. We have 620 MPs at the moment, and the majority is my party, plus the Liberals. Together we have the majority in the parliament. We have altogether 339 members in both parties, CDU, CSU, plus Liberals. So we have the majority, and the majority is having the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, is out of my party. Did I forget something? Habe ich was vergessen?
I do apologize, my dear friends. There's a question which is related to my first question. Thank you very much for your elaboration. However, there's one thing which I feel that you may not understand the context of Thailand, that we are facing a major problem. The local elections in Bangkok, we have clear evidence. We have clear evidence, and it's even on YouTube, of bias and bias by officials. However, these are denied by the local officials. Now, it is not transparent in Thailand. Elections are not transparent in Thailand. There's always some cheating, and a lot of dishonest acts. Do you have such electoral fraud in Germany?
I'm happy to say not in general, but there might be even some people trying to do it, but I guess it is not. I mean, that's not very popular because we have a very transparent system. Number one, we have a very strong press which is controlling us very hardly, and you have no chance to escape. So that's one of the reasons I do not think that we have a lot of people trying to do this. It's not a question of popularity, but it's the case is like this that is not happening because it's too dangerous. Because if you are trapped, you are dead. You're dead forever. I mean, you cannot do this because if you are once trapped, then you are out.
ทางกกต.ไม่ทราบว่ามี
Does the Election Commission have other issues you'd like to ask the speaker? Okay, there are no questions from the Election Commission. Next participant, please. Good morning. I'm Kusuma, the Member of Parliament from Mahasarakam Province, Pheu Thai Party, and I'm also a government whip. I have many questions, but first of all, I'd just like to address the participants today that if in order to attain membership of parliament status by buying votes, I can confidently say that I have been elected to become a member of parliament through struggles, a lot of struggles since the year 2001. And I would also like to say that people have elected me because of the policies. They are looking at what they can acquire from the political party more than because of vote buyings. Today, I'd just like to say that I am from Pheu Thai Party. And I have moved to Pheu Pandin Party. There is a member of parliament from Udon Thani province who was able to beat me without any vote buying, despite my being a member of parliament in that constituency for many years. Now, so you can see that people do not vote because of the person, not because of money, but it's because of the party. People do not view money as the most important value for them. There were several reasons why I moved from the Pheu Thai Party, but those are irrelevant for today. But now that I have returned to Pheu Thai Party now, I have struggled with local administrators, and the reason why I returned to this party, even though it's not my real constituency, but I was able to win an election, and therefore you can see that democracy in Thailand has developed, it's quite advanced, and therefore I'd like to ask the Election Commission on what your criteria are, or I'd like you to elaborate on the criteria for allocating public funding, which currently you are using from the number of members, the number of branches, the number of members of parliament. However, I'd like to say that there are many obstacles to establishing party branches, and many rules are cumbersome, and therefore many parties are not able to establish a party branch, and therefore they are missing out on this funding from the public. Therefore, parties who already enjoy the support of the people but do not have party branches, and despite having numerous members of parliament do not receive a fair amount of allocation of public funds. And therefore, I'd like to ask the Election Commission on how you are going to tackle this problem. Another problem which I'd like to ask you is that many parties who do not have activities in a certain locality, such as they may not have a member of parliament in that constituency or they may not have a party branch, how come that they are still enjoying funding from the public, from the Election Commission? I'd like to invite Kun Wichuda to reply. On the allocation of funding for party branches under Section 75 of the Political Parties Act, it has been prescribed that a party to receive funding must fall within the criteria. In other words, they must have at least 200 members of parliament. They must have a party membership registered. They must have a real office, and they must operate in accordance with this article, such as by arranging for a general meeting. Now, these rules apply to all parties, and if they are able to satisfy all these criteria, then they will receive funding under Section 75. Now, on the other question, I do apologize. Let me just re-ask the other question. As for parties who do not have branches or do not have activities in a locality and who are still receiving funding, well, these parties are actually receiving the funding at their head offices, and it is the head offices who are distributing those funding to the branches. And of course, the party has to satisfy all the 4 criteria I mentioned earlier. So it is not the Election Commission allocating funds to the branches, but it's the head office of the party allocating those funds or distributing those funds. Are there further questions or comments on this issue so that we can give a comprehensive reply?